everyone. Welcome to this week's What's Up Wednesday. My name is Rachel, and I'm on the client support team here at Early Learning Ventures. And today I'm joined by Maryellen, who is the Hearing and Vision Screening Specialist with School Health. Thank you so much for joining us today, Maryellen.
Well, thank you for having me.
Yeah, I'm really excited. We've got some great information to share with everybody today. Thank you to everyone who is watching with us. This is such a great chance for us all to hang out together and learn. So it's really exciting. Maryellen has also provided us with a great list of resources that I've included in the description of this video as well. So thank you again for joining us. If you have not heard of us before, we are a 501c3 nonprofit based out of Colorado, and our mission is to expand access to quality and affordable childcare. So again, I have links in the description of this video to take you to our website where you can learn more about us and resources offered, as well as our full What's Up Wednesday playlist and all of those resources that Maryellen shared with us. Since we are live today, if you have any questions that come up while we're talking, please add them to the chat or add a comment. This is a great opportunity to ask questions while we have Maryellen here with us live. If there is anything that we're not able to get to today or maybe not able to answer today, we can always follow up with you as well. So I encourage you to just add those comments here, even if you're not watching live. Before we get started, we do have a giveaway winner to announce. So during our first What's Up Wednesday for the month of April, we started a 7-week-long giveaway for our existing Alliance Core users to tell us each week what they are serving for snack and be entered for a chance to win a scholarship to use the system completely free for 1 year. So we randomly selected a comment, and the one that was chosen came from Carrie Kennedy, and what she served for snack that day was a whole grain cheese quesadilla. So I'm not going to lie, while I was going through all of these comments and adding them up, I was getting very hungry. You guys served some incredible snacks. So congratulations, Carrie. Thank you so much to everybody who participated. I'll be in touch with you shortly, Carrie, and we'll get that scholarship applied. So if your comment was not chosen for that particular giveaway, don't worry, because we are starting another one this week. This one is pretty much the same details. It's for our existing Alliance Core users for a chance to win a 1-year scholarship. This is a huge opportunity because it can save you anywhere from $300 to $1,200, depending on the size of your program. So what we are asking is that you add a comment to our What's Up Wednesday videos starting today and over the next 7 weeks, just answering our question of the week. Each comment will earn you an entry. So the more entries, the more comments that you have, the more likely your name will be chosen at random. So we encourage you to engage with us every week and join us here. And with summer approaching and most places starting to warm up, I know we're all starting to think about getting outdoors, and we would love to know, what is your favorite outdoor activity to do with your kiddos? So just answer that question in the comments and we'll enter your name into that raffle. All right, so let's get started. Maryellen, why don't you start us off by telling us a bit about yourself and your role with School Health?
Sure. So I'm a senior specialist for vision, hearing, and electronic health records at School Health. I work nationally with customers around the country. I work with a lot of the state consultants on their guidelines for vision and hearing, equipment, training, demos. I work with our internal sales team with their customers and help them to work through their hearing and vision programs. So overall, we just work nationally with everyone on those types of things.
That's really exciting. And hopefully we all learned something today about the importance of those screenings.
Yeah.
Can you kind of just give us a short intro to School Health as well, for those of us who may not be familiar?
Oh, sure. Absolutely. So School Health is a company that's been around for about 60 years. We have, not only vision and hearing, and a lot of people think of School Health, the name School Health, as just being health products, but we carry a wide variety of products, everything from vision and hearing, physical education, special education, safety, emergency preparedness. And we've just kind of developed that across many different avenues in the school or education market and nonprofit. So we work not only with Head Starts, early Head Starts, preschool, K through 12. We also work with, higher education, and with our sports medicine line, we work with a lot of athletic trainers at that level of the universities, and then also with some of the major major league or national athletes around the country.
Wow, that is awesome. Incredible resource. All right, so we have a lot to cover today. So let's just dive right into us. Can you tell us why are hearing and vision screenings important in the early childhood setting, and how do they contribute to the child's overall health and development?
Sure. So hearing and vision are, a very critical part of the child's growth and, their future success in school. With vision, we really, the eye transfers 90% of all the information to the brain. So vision is very important to detect a condition that may result in some form of blindness or, just some kind of vision impairment. Can cause, a child to have learning issues, emotional issues, behavioral problems, things of that nature. Children often are not aware of their impairments just because of their age. When they're early, they don't understand that, they have no experience understanding that they're not seeing something properly. And that vision screening is an efficient way and a practical way to kind of help them understand and process and detect any kind of problem that they would have. Basically, the same thing goes for hearing screening. I don't know if people understand or know that hearing loss is the #1 birth defect in the United States. So that is why they always check for hearing, right at birth in a hospital. So for 1 in 3 children out of 1,000 at birth, they have a hearing impairment or a defect of some sort. So just as vision problems affect, preschoolers, 1 in 4 school-age children are affected also by both vision and hearing impairments. These types of impairments can really lead to language and cognitive development, social development. A child could be withdrawn. It really affects individuals differently, but sometimes it even affects their standard schoolized testing that they might have and their scores later on if they're not detected.
Wow. Yeah. I mean, the children, like you said, they're not aware. They can't communicate that to us. So I can see, the screenings are really probably one of the only ways of detecting if there is an issue.
Yeah. I mean, it's really important. And, nationally, there are states that have guidelines, or there are schools within those states that follow a specific protocol. But there's still a lot of work that needs to be done in order to have those guidelines, be more effective across the country.
Yeah. Can you walk us through the process of conducting the screenings in the early childhood setting? Like what equipment is used, what tests, just kind of give us an idea of what that looks like?
Yeah, sure. I can do that. I think, in order to do that, I'm going to break this up again into vision and hearing,
Okay.
Because they are different pieces of equipment, but it's also really, really important to make sure that everybody understands it's really, they should be following the guidelines that have been set up by their state. And those are typically things that can be found, you can just Google it if you're not familiar with it. And there are resources out there for you to be able to your health department in your state probably has a listing of whatever those guidelines are for vision and hearing. So there's ways to find those out. So it's very important to follow those guidelines. So when it comes to vision, there's actually 2 forms of vision screening. One is considered instrument-based screening, such as a spot vision screener. And then there's also the traditional eye charts that you would have. So the spot vision screener, that's a tool that's an objective screener. It's a binocular screener. So what that means is that it will screen both eyes at once in about 1 second. And it doesn't require a response from the child. So for early learning and early childhood development, for those children, 0 to 5, 6 years old, this is a great tool to be used because it just provides you with a pass or refer for that screening. And again, that child doesn't need to respond. It's often very difficult for a child at that age to understand the process of being able to respond to an eye chart. It'll detect 6 different types of vision issues as well: myopia, nearsightedness, hyperopia, farsightedness, astigmatism, which is blurred vision, anisometropia, that is unequal refractive powers. That's when your eyes don't see the same way. So, one might see a little bit better near, one might see a little better far. And then strabismus, which is commonly known as an eye misalignment, or sometimes referred to as lazy eye. That's when you get an eye turn. It will detect that. And also anisocoria, which is a pupil deviation. Now, in early childhood, that strabismus or that eye misalignment is really important to catch, because that is easily corrected at that age range. So typically what will happen is when they go to see a professional, they will patch the good eye, which helps to strengthen the muscles in that weak eye, and then it helps to correct that issue. So that is a really big thing that you want to look out for, and that this device really helps with. The Spot has a lot of clinical studies that help to support the use of it for up to the age of 6. It's also really been used nationally with older children who may not understand how to respond, as I was saying earlier, because there is no response needed. Or if English is a second language to them, this is also a really great way to test those children of any age, as opposed to doing the chart-based screening.
Yeah.
So that's the first way. That's considered, and you might hear it being called instrument-based screening. The second way is to use a traditional eye chart. You might be familiar with an eye chart that you would see in your, if you go to an eye care professional to have an eye exam, which is recommended to do yearly, then you would notice that they are presenting you with some form of eye chart. It's commonly called visual acuity testing. That's when you would hear, people call visual acuity 20/20 vision. There's different types of acuity based on your age. Visual acuity, just for those of you who don't understand or know the term, it means, it's defined as being a sharpness of vision. It's measured by the ability of you to discern between letters, numbers, or symbols at a certain given distance, according to whatever that fixed standard is. So again, this is where your guidelines come into being important in order to know where that fixed guideline is. So an eye chart, though, that would be something that's a subjective screening tool, and subjective meaning that it would require response from the child. The way the eye charts work are you're testing one eye at a time. So you're typically occluding, covering one eye with some kind of material that's being presented. It's usually a pair of glasses where one eye is covered, or a lot of people see like these, you hold up a glass to your eye, and then you only can see out of one eye. So they're switching from eye to eye. And you need to have that ability to be able to tell what you are seeing in order to get that acuity. So that letter or object or number is important. For early childhood, this is a little bit more difficult of a screening for it to be administered, because they don't always understand, especially those who are very young. However, many states do require a visual acuity screening that would be, part of what is required as part of those guidelines. And those typically start at about the age of 3. Now, it can be really difficult with visual acuity actually starting from 3 up until 5 because of that ability to understand.
Yeah, I can imagine.
Yeah, there is one chart though that really does assist with those young children. It's a one that many states use. It's the Leia symbols, and those would be pretty much an appropriate chart to use for them, because they really don't need to verbally respond to you. What they can do is use a response card that has the symbols on it, and those symbols are squares, circles, a house, an apple, and they can then point to what they are seeing So for those children who are even nonverbal, that can work. These might be specified for certain guidelines, or this might be something that, you could use for that. And School Health has a wide selection of all of these traditional products. And we also have a section on our website with state-specific tools that are used that have been recommended for their guidelines.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah, so to address the second part of the question about hearing screening, there are, for the age range for early childhood, there's really two forms as well of screening for early childhood. Just like instrument-based screening is used with the spot for screening both eyes at the same time, there's a device called an OAE. It's an Otoacoustic Emissions test. It's a handheld device where the screener would insert a probe into the child's ear. And that probe is then doesn't require a response. What happens is it takes about 30 to 40 seconds to screen each ear. And it will emit 4 different tones. These low-level tones, generate this tone to the cochlea, which is the inner ear, and the hairs on the cochlea vibrate, which then relay a response to the auditory system stimulating it, and that's how you get your reading. So you're also going to get a pass-refer right on the screen of the device, the OAE. And the OAE is really recommended for use for children who are, 0 to 3, as being a really great tool because, again, it does not require a response. Just like the other visual one that we were talking about, this one's also great for English as a second language, those that don't understand how to respond, because the next form that's typically used is something that's called a pure tone audiometer, and that requires a response. Children need to raise their hand. Or a lot of times there's something called conditioned play where they might throw, a block into a bucket when they hear the tone. So that is typically the other form that is used for that. Traditionally, the pure tone testing and a pure tone audiometer is considered like the gold standard for screening. And starting at age 3, they really like you to be able to do that. There are several different types of traditional audiometers out there. Again, the state guidelines would then specify frequencies and levels for which you would use those at in order for them to be able to be considered a screening that would be a pass. There is one more device, if it's okay, that I wanted to mention, especially for ages 3 and above, since it is difficult for them to respond. There's something called the Mako Pilot. This is a device that instead of presenting a tone, it speaks the tone. And what it does do is it comes with a board that has pictures, a picture board on it. And that picture board, it would say, point to the ball or point to the hot dog. And a lot of children respond really well to hearing that in that level in order to identify it. And again, they can point to what they are hearing, which is also a great way to do the screening. That device has a real bonus to it because it's not only a selective hearing device, but it also does the pure tone with the tone. So you can either do the speaking portion or you can do the tone portion. So it's a nice way to get everything in one little package.
Yeah. Wow. That was a lot of information, but that is it's just so fascinating to get like a behind the scenes look at how everything works.
And there's so much more. So those are just a couple of things really that, are great tools for the early learning age range. I mean, you could spend a whole time just talking about the tools.
I mean, that's great that there is so many different options though. Yeah. Especially for, like you said, for a 3-year-old. Sometimes that's still very young. Sometimes it is hard to ask them
really
to
is. And if
communicate.
anybody out there has done a screening, and especially for hearing or vision, I mean, they can look complex in what they're trying to do. And I mean, I've seen it where we've screened children in hearing and they're raising both hands. And you know, it's good if they're raising both hands because that indicates that they're hearing something.
Yeah.
But it can be very, very confusing to them.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. And I mean, I think even as an adult, sometimes when you go to do those vision or hearing tests, it can be confusing.
Right.
What are some of the signs or symptoms that may indicate a child is experiencing hearing or vision difficulties?
Well, when I think about that, you think about how a child might be struggling in a classroom a little bit. Maybe they're squinting, trying to read a book, or trying to look at something, or to see the board. Some kind of undiagnosed vision and hearing issues can really hinder their learning and social interaction as they get a little older. So some symptoms that you could look for in vision might be, just an outward appearance, if they maybe their eyes are bulging or have it cross-eyed or, seem to have an unusual size to them. Maybe they are rapidly moving. Children may have trouble, so maybe reading, so they might be holding the book further out. They might also have difficulty keeping track of the words when they're trying to read. Children may avoid having, doing things that are close up because they're not sure of that distance. So another thing they might do is if you're a parent or a guardian who's watching them, maybe they're, looking at the TV and they're very close up to it, or they're tilting their head a certain way in order to see that TV screen. So covering one eye, there's a little bit of signs for vision. With hearing, it's a little bit more difficult to determine. For them, they may not be responding. You might have to speak loudly. It's a little bit more difficult to determine some of those symptoms with the children, but those are just a few things to look for.
Yeah, I can see that being hard. I'm sure there's no real, not always a solid indicator, but I think it is still good to just have that in our minds. It's something to just be aware of.
Yeah, it could be as simple for hearing as, having that television, on too loud, or the music at a higher volume. It's just a little bit more difficult with that. Maybe, it's hard for them to hear over a background noise, if they're out in a playground or something too.
Yeah. You've kind of touched on this a little bit, but maybe you have more to add to it. How do hearing and vision difficulties in young children impact their ability to learn, communicate, interact with their environment? Can we talk about that a little more?
Yeah, especially in early stages. A vision or a hearing problem can really impact them even all the way through their adulthood. If it's not treated or not caught. So in many cases, like I was saying, you're not aware because they just don't know that they have a problem. They're unfamiliar. They have nothing to reflect back on that it is an issue. Some of the problems that can impact them might be, like I was saying earlier, the reading, if they're having issues with the distance in reading. And then that can affect their ability to spell, handwrite, homework completion, just classroom performance in general, their ability to concentrate, their attention level, and then again, with maybe a lot of the visual arts as they get into later on. And then, with hearing, it's basically the same thing. They're just not understanding, and they just would have the same issues.
Yeah,
reading, smelling, handwriting, because the vision and hearing they go together pretty much.
What what resources or support services are available? Do you have any to share that maybe early childhood educators and parents could use to address hearing and vision concerns that might have been identified in a screening?
So there's some good resources out there. So one that I really like is the National Center for Children's Vision and Eye Health, which is part of Prevent Blindness. They have an online resource called Small Steps for Big Vision. It's an eye health informational tool for parents and guardians. And this would provide them with information, suggest some actions, give them some assistance and ways that would empower them to, partner with teachers, children, eye care professionals, things like that to be able to help, especially if a screening comes back and it's not a pass and it is a refer. So it's a really good resource. Also, with young children who are between the ages of 0 and 3, or even before the age of 1, they have a tool on there that allows you to be able to, check reflex and see if a child can follow a moving object. So they give you a checklist and instruction on how to do that.
Okay.
The other thing I would suggest is there's APOS, which is the American Academy of Pediatric Ophthalmology and Strabismus. They have an online form that you can fill out to find a doctor. So if you do get a referral for a vision exam and you don't know where to go, you can fill out this form and it will make some suggestions within your area on who you might be able to seek for professional help. And there's also the same type of form on the American Academy of Audiology. They also have that same type of form. You fill it out. You would be able to then get back information online about who within your area would be able to help.
Great. I did just share those resources in the comments here, but I also have them in the description of the video. Looks like YouTube is telling me one of the links was too long, so it's cutting it off, but it's in the description of the video also. And if you do have follow-up questions, you can always reach out to myself or Maryellen. Our contact information is in the description as well. So can you share any success stories or examples of how early detection and intervention through the screenings have positively impacted children's learning outcomes?
Yeah, so I actually have a really good example in a video of one that for vision. Unfortunately, I don't have anything for hearing, but the example is really good. It's really crucial for early detection and prevention. And the new technology that's out there, this highlights the spot vision screener, which is this new technology that can really help with these younger children in catching some of this. So if it's okay, I'd love to show it.
Okay. All right, you should be able to go ahead and press play now.
Okay, just let me know if you can hear it.
4 years old, attending a preschool, and they did a screening with the Lions Club KidSight cameras. And when I went to pick him up from school that day, they handed me a piece of paper with the results, and they told me that the Lions Club suggested that I go see an optometrist because it indicated a deficiency in his left eye. We noticed that Ryder was turning his head slightly when he would watch TV. So we asked him why he did it, and he said, because I can see better. So my husband and I thought, okay, maybe there's something to this whole Lions Club thing. We should probably go get him tested. We took him to our local optometrist, who did some lengthy testing on him and determined that, yes, he had a deficiency in his left eye. She determined astigmatism and amblyopia with a slight farsightedness as well. Had this happened later, maybe he wouldn't be doing so well. So I'm just very thankful to the Lions Club and this program and totally believe that it changed our lives and can change others as well.
This is the Well Challenge.
So that is what I just wanted to show that portion of the video. I don't know if we have time to go through the rest.
Yeah, thank you. How long is the video?
It's about 3 minutes long.
Okay, let's see here. We're up on 30 minutes now. I want to get through all of our questions. So let's go ahead and continue with the the questions. Did you have anything else to share on that outside of the video?
No, I just want, it's just a really great example of how, getting that vision screening can really lead to success later on, and getting it early.
Yeah, I think that was a great example. And it's always nice to see that visual as well.
Mm-hmm.
So what advice or recommendations do you have for early childhood educators and parents for the importance of regular hearing and vision screenings in young children?
Yeah, so the video is a great example in the importance of participating in these screening programs that might be provided to their children through the community, through outreach programs, through local service organizations such as the Lions Clubs, Head Starts, Early Head Starts. The hearing and vision is really critical in the development and education for every child. So these types of programs, if you see them, if you get a notice, don't pass them up. Typically, a lot of the service organizations, these are free services. So I would recommend that you would participate or try to participate if you could. Should there be any kind of issue or anything that they might find, these are just screenings. I think it's really important to understand that the screenings are just the first step, and that it's always important to get to take them to an eye care professional so that they can be fully examined to see what's going on. And that's where those resources that I just mentioned with APOS and the American Academy of Audiology, they have that ability for you to be able to find someone within your area who can help you get to that stage and determine a good program or plan for your child.
Thank you so much, Maryellen. You have shared so much with us today. I know I've learned lots of new things today. I hope everybody watching did too. Do you have anything else to leave with us today?
No, I mean, my only thing that I would say is that, if you have more specific questions or information or need anything, as Rachel said, my information's available. School Health, it's a great resource for you for anything that within this area that you might, want to consider or need to take advantage of.
Awesome. Thank you so much. And thank you to everybody who has watched live with us today, or if you're watching the recording later, thank you so much for joining us. Don't forget to check out all of the links in the description of this video where you can learn more or contact myself or Maryellen with any follow-up questions. Also, don't forget to comment here and let us know what is your favorite outdoor activity to do with your kiddos. And if you are an existing Alliance Core user, we'll add your name to our list for a chance to win a 1-year scholarship to use the system completely free. Thank you so much, everybody. I hope you all have a good rest of your day, and we'll see you next time. Bye.
Bye.